we're just beginning this new series called Better Together. And I want to tell you a story. In 1986, Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, in 1986, they kicked him out of his own company from Apple. So when they took him out of Apple, he bought a very small computer manufacturing company that maybe you know. Maybe you didn't know it was a computer manufacturing company, but that's how they began. It's a company that is, not a lot of people know that company. It's called Pixar, okay? And yeah, so I want you guys, Pixar Animation Studios. So in 1986, Steve Jobs was out of a job, okay? So, rich people, when they're out of a job, they create their own job. So he went and purchased his company, Pixar Animation Studios, and in the year 2000, they had to move to a new location. Listen to this. So they brought the designs, the plans for the new building, for Pixar's new building in 2000, they were going to move. And the design consisted of 3 different buildings. One building was going to host what they call the computer scientists. The other building was going to host the animators. And the other building was going to host the executives. As soon as Steve Jobs saw the designs, he ripped them and he threw them to the trash can. And he asked for a new design. And he said, I don't want 3 buildings. I want 1 building. So if you don't know who is Pixar, put the other picture, just in case you don't know. Okay, Pixar Studios is a studio that has done these movies. They have done over 20 movies, and they have in earnings almost $14 billion. Okay, in 20 movies. They have like 4 movies that have done, each one of them, over $1 billion in earnings. So this guy took this small manufacturing company and made it into a multi-billion company with one principle that I want to speak about today. Because people began asking, so how did he do that? How could he take such a small company and make it into a multi-billion? Because sometimes people, when I was younger, I think it's VH1. There used to be a channel called VH1. I don't know if VH1 still exists. And they had this program that I loved a lot called One Hit Wonders. And One Hit Wonders were these bands that had maybe, they had a song and the song became like super famous and they never again made a good song. Like Baby Come Back, for those that are my age, okay? And those people, one song, that's it, one hit wonder. So sometimes when we see people of the caliber of Steve Jobs with a company like Apple, we think to ourselves, maybe he's a one hit wonder. Maybe he was there, at the right time, but he was kicked out of his company and he began another one and he became also a hit. From very small company, it's a multi-billion company, and people were asking, okay, so what is the secret? So I go back to my story. So he took the designs, the plans, the blueprints, he ripped them, threw them to the trash can, and he said, I want a company that is hosted in 1 building. Only 1. And in the middle of the building, he constructed a huge atrium. So I want to show you a picture. So this is the atrium of Pixar Animation Studios. So in this atrium, he put a cafe bar, a cafeteria that is like a restaurant. He put meeting rooms, and he put a gift shop. Why did he do that? Listen to this. So they asked him, why did you do this? And Steve Jobs said, my main purpose is to promote collaboration between different cultures and backgrounds. My main purpose is to promote, repeat after me, collaboration. What the younger generation is beginning to understand now. And the older we never understood. But now you see musicians, almost every new production, musical production, has what they call a collab. And it says featuring whoever, And the younger generation has found this secret that you can achieve more through collaboration. So Steve Jobs' secret was collaboration. His main purpose was to promote collaboration between different cultures and backgrounds. Steve Jobs established Pixar over a culture of collaboration. That is his main principle for Pixar Animation Studios and for Apple. Apple, Google, these companies, beginning with Steve Jobs, were the first companies that brought down all the walls that divided offices inside their buildings. And they like people to see each other, and they have like common workplaces where people just sit down. They have cafeterias, and you don't have to be in an office all the time. You have your office, but most of the time people come out and they just begin speaking. They begin sharing ideas, creativity, and a lot of stuff that we have nowadays that we enjoy, that we love, our iPhones, everything, all the apps and all that, were created by a group of people that understood the principle of collaboration. And for Steve Jobs, collaboration has been so important that then he created a university. It's called Pixar University. I don't know why sometimes the world understands more God's principles than us. There's a principle in the Bible that says that you instruct a child when he's young, and then when he's old, he will never depart from God's ways. That's what Steve Jobs was doing. He said, I want to establish a company that I know will be here, for a long time, and that will honor the principles that we have here in my companies. So he created a university, especially, listen to this, the slogan of Pixar University is Alienus non diutus, which means alone never again. That is the motto. It's not like education for a free world. Most universities have like truth, education, and prosperity. His motto is alone never again, because he believed that there's nothing more important than collaboration. They asked one of Pixar's executives to describe the company, and this guy said, Pixar is a tight-knit company of long-term collaborators. He didn't say long-term employees, long-term people. They, on purpose, describe their people as collaborators. It's a tight-knit company of long-term collaborators who stick together, learn from one another, and strive to improve with every production. So repeat after me, it's better together. It's better together. God has shown us that 2019 is going to be a year that He's taking us to another level, but we won't be able to experience what God has for us unless we understand and practice the principle of collaboration. This is not a one-man band. This is not a one-man show. I'm going to be speaking a lot about that today, okay? So I want you guys to come with me to 2 Corinthians 8:32. And today is a day that I need to finish on time, unless I want to miss my flight. 2 Corinthians 8:23, it says, this is Paul. Listen how Paul expresses himself about his relationship with Titus. It says, if anyone asks about Titus, because Paul sent Titus to do stuff, because Paul could not be everywhere. Paul understood the principle of collaboration. So Paul understood that the work of God could not depend on one person. So he had a team of people. So he sent some of them like Timothy and Titus. So the problem is that sometimes people would see Titus as of lesser importance than Paul. So people would ask, like, who's Titus? Okay, we know Paul, but who is this guy Titus? So Paul says, if anyone asks about Titus, say that he's my partner. Repeat after me, partner. Look what partner means. It says, my fellow worker, my collaborator, who works with me to help you. Listen, Paul was not only Titus's boss, because he was Titus's boss. Paul was Titus's spiritual father. That's how Paul describes himself. He says to Titus, my true son in the faith. And Paul says in the Bible that he was the one that presented Titus with the gospel of Jesus Christ. So he spoke to Titus about Jesus for the first time. Titus had never heard about Jesus. Then he evangelized Titus. Not only, after that, he discipled Titus in the faith. Then he equipped Titus as an apostle. And he equipped Titus with all the skills that Titus needed to do the work. And not only that, then he sent him to do the work. So Paul was Titus's spiritual father. Paul was Titus's mentor. Paul was Titus's pastor. And Paul was Titus's boss. I mean, Paul was the man. And Paul didn't say, if somebody asks for Titus, tell him, he works for me. If somebody asks for Titus, tell him, yes, he's my employee. Or he's my son. Or he's my disciple. I mentor him. You know, we're in a discipleship program. Paul says something incredible. If somebody asks for Titus, say that he's my partner. That word partner means associate. It means in the Greek, original Greek, it means co-owner. It means that both have, when you're going to buy, acciones, shares in a company. When you're going to buy shares in the company, that's the word that Paul is using. Paul is not saying, I'm the owner of this, this ministry, and he works for me. He says, we are co-owners of what we're doing, and he works with me. Partner also means, listen to this, equal in rank, power, and character. So I have a question. Was Titus equal to Paul in rank, power, and character? Was Titus equal to Paul in rank, power, and character and authority? No. So why does Paul refer to him like that? Why does Paul say, if somebody asks for Titus, say, he's my partner, we're associates, and we have the same rank. Did they have the same rank? No, but Paul said, we have the same rank. Paul said, we have the same character. Did they have the same character? No. And he says, we have the same authority, the same power. So Paul basically, in a sense, lowers himself. No, it's the opposite. He lifts Titus to his level. Because for Paul, it was more important the relationship of collaboration than the relationship of authority. But nowadays, in churches and in almost every company, not to say every company, it's more important the relationship of authority than the relationship of collaboration. So the bosses, we like people to collaborate amongst them, but we don't want to be in that mix. Because if we go into that mix, people are going to think that they have the same rank, power, and character that we do. So we want to make it very clear that I'm not them and they are not me. I am the boss. I am the pastor of Ekklesia Miami. So let me be clear, just in case, you don't know that. And I want to build a team of collaborators. But since authority is so important to me, collaboration is going to be submitted to authority, because I'm not going to allow collaboration to mess with the authority figure in this church. But in the kingdom, we need to learn that collaboration trumps authority. Collaboration supersedes authority. Collaboration governs authority, because in the kingdom, authority works for collaboration. Collaboration doesn't work for authority. That's a very deep thought. Okay? In the end, we're all going to be collaborators and children of the Father, and authority will cease to exist. And if we live our lives promoting authority, we're promoting something that in eternity will not be present. We don't need to promote authority. We need to understand authority. We need to promote friendship and collaboration, which is very different, if we want to achieve great things for God. Now listen, Paul says, Titus, yes, the one that works with me, not the one that works for me. So if somebody has trouble with collaboration and needs I need to affirm authority in this place. I need them to know who's the boss. You are not an expression of God's heart. God knows about collaboration. If there's somebody that could boast about being the boss, that's God. And he didn't do that. Let me go with me to Mark 16:20 and listen to what it says. It says, Mark 16:20 says, and they went and preached everywhere. Listen to this. The disciples went and preached everywhere while the Lord worked, it means collaborated with them, and confirmed the word by the signs that followed. So this is incredible. God could have said, okay, you work for me. In fact, you are there establishing my kingdom, my truth. So that's why I sent you. So you do the work. And God says, no, 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 no. I have something that I can contribute to this work. And even though I'm God, I'm not the boss. I'm God, the creator of the universe. I'm going to collaborate because there's something that I can give so that this purpose is achieved. And it says that they worked and God collaborated with them, putting what they could not put for themselves. So if God collaborates with us, what makes me think that I cannot collaborate with you? What makes me think that I have to be all the time rubbing in your face that I am the pastor, that I am the boss, that I am the father, I learned with my former pastor that when you have to tell people that you're the authority, it's because you don't believe you're the authority. The first one that doesn't believe it, it's you. So when you tell somebody, you know, I am the authority, I'm not really speaking to you. I'm speaking to me. And God doesn't have a problem collaborating with us. We shouldn't have any problems collaborating with each other. If God has shown us that 2019 is going to be an incredible year, we need to learn the principle of collaboration. Last Sunday when we finished, Andrew came with Marcela, and they told me, Pastor, we have a couple of ideas. I mean, I've heard ideas, so it scares me a little bit. You know, sometimes people tell me, I have ideas, Pastor. Why? No. And he said, Marcela said, I want to do, you know, we would love to help, to collaborate. Doing something for young adults, you know, so we can mingle, da, 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 da. And he's like, I mean, that's like, I'm a sweet tooth. That is like you're telling me, I have the best tres leches here for you. It's like, of course. And then Andrew says, you know, Pastor, he loves to write. I mean, he's very good at what he does. He said, Pastor, I want to help you, maybe doing your blog. I told him, I've been praying 3 years for you. God is bringing the right people to this place. God is bringing the right people. You are not here as a coincidence. God put you here. But we need to shift our minds from people or volunteers that serve in the same organization to friends that collaborate in God's purpose. It's key that we shift our mindset. And the first one that have to shift that is us, the authorities and the leaders. Because sometimes, I don't know why humans are always fighting for position. And some people are still fighting for a chair. And I have people that, you know, they always, for example, they always sit where Janeline is. And one day Janeline comes here and the person says, that's my seat. And I ask him, did you buy it? I mean, are you giving the church something annually for your seat? And it's like, you know those old shoes that have the form of your feet? Some chairs here have the form of your. I mean, you're like there every time. And I say, we cannot come into this place with that mindset. Because here, not even me, nobody is over anybody. Here, God is above everybody. Okay? And here, authority is only a structure and a function that serves the purpose. But here, we don't do things to serve authority. Here, we serve only one. And we're all collaborators. And in the Bible, the word collaboration, listen to this, comes from the word synergos or synergos, where the word synergy comes. Do you know what synergy means? Somebody knows what synergy, the word synergy? Nobody knows what synergy means? Okay. You know what synergy means? You know, Wesley, what synergy means? Okay, what does synergy mean? Okay. I'm going to define it for you, and then I have a couple of videos that are going to explain to you what synergy means. So collaboration, when the Bible says that we need to learn to be collaborators, fellow workers, so we can achieve what God has called us to do, the Greek word, the exact Greek word is synergy. And synergy means that the combined result of a group of things or people working together is greater than the total power achieved by each working separately. You say, what is that? Let me tell you. If I'm doing something here, I'm building something, and then you're here building the same thing like it used to be in companies before the era of specialization is what it's called. Before Taylor and Fayol, it was right the Second World War, between the First World War, Second World War, companies that would manufacture things, factories, would work with a person would do the whole product. So if you had to do a soap, you would do the whole process yourself until you had one soap. Another person would do the whole process and they would have one soap. Because there was an arms race and the country that had the most guns and tanks and planes would win the war. So the United States and all the countries were trying to find a more efficient way to produce more weapons to win the war. That's why most inventions come from the military. And during that time, some people in the army created a way to produce more through something called specialization. What does that mean? That instead of me doing the whole product, I would only do the first stage of the product. Then the other person would do the second stage of the product. And we would have this product line with this band, like the ones in the airport that you stand and you don't have to walk. And the resources will go there. And in the end, you would have a finished result, a finished product, like how cars are produced nowadays. Okay? So synergy means that all those people working together produce more than each person working individually and at the end trying to add everything they produce. So if I'm doing soaps, this guy is doing soaps, and this guy is doing soaps, in the end he does 5 is 15. But if we all work together to make soaps, we can do 20, 25, or 30. Yes. The production line. That's called synergy. And that's what collaboration means. That's the exact word in the Greek. So if you want to know what synergy it means, I have 3 very short videos for you.
It's smarter to travel in groups. Take the bus. It's smarter to travel in groups. Take the bus.
Okay, so that's the power of synergy. And I love the one of the ants because you can see the leader, so he's exercising his leadership. But he understands that it comes to the place that he has to stop being a leader and begin to collaborate. Because even though he's giving all the signals and leading, in the end, he jumps and he becomes a part of the ball. So I understand authority. It's important to have an authority structure so we can achieve things, but we achieve more with collaboration than with authority. So we have to be careful not to use collaboration to serve authority and use authority to produce collaboration. Okay? So that's synergy. And in the Bible, collaboration produces synergy. Repeat that. Collaboration produces synergy. We need to learn to collaborate. So there are three basic principles of collaboration that I want to teach today in 15 minutes. So my flight doesn't leave me. Okay? And these principles can be apply to anything in life. Because in the end, collaboration is not only for church, it's for everything. Human beings, we were created by God to work together, to live together. I don't know if you are like me. Okay, I'm sometimes, I'm like a beauty queen. I love to blow out kisses, and yes, I'm like a beauty queen. But that I am like this in public doesn't mean I am like this in private. And some people think because they see me and I'm there greeting people. I mean, when we had the big church, I was there, 4,500 people. I would stand out the door greeting each one of them, almost by name. I will remember their eyes, their hair. I would go, wow, you changed your hair. Pastor, how do you know that? The Holy Spirit is incredible. And I would be there. And why did I say this? Okay. Man, 52 years old. That's bad. Okay. So there are 3 basic principles of collaboration that we can apply to everything we do. And the first one of them, it's common good goes before personal advancement. If you want to be a church, if you want to be a family, if you want to build a company, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to anything that you do that involves working with people, you want it to achieve great things, you have to understand that the common good comes before personal advancement. What does that mean? Some people like to use everything they see for their personal advancement. Everything. And they like to use people. Sometimes they don't see that. In church, that is very common. Some people come, when a church is small, it's not very attractive, but when a church begins to grow, suddenly you are like super. When we had the other church, our church was the most generous church in the city. I'm not lying. People would come to preach and they would take incredible offerings. So the next year, the guy would call me. Pastor, I've been praying and the Holy Spirit told me that I needed to go preach at your church. Say, wow, that's incredible. He was really expecting a good offering. So when the church is, you're beginning, you're not very attractive. So people come because they really want to help. But when the church has things to offer, people love to come to see if they can use that place to advance their goals or to feel recognized or to feel important. That happens a lot with preaching and with worship. And it's not easy because I have to discern when I see somebody tell me, Pastor, I have this calling to worship. And let me tell you, people don't have to be perfect to be here, but they have to have the right heart. They have to have the right heart. Because if for you, the common good is not the most important thing, everywhere they put you, you're going to use that for your own personal advancement. And the kingdom is not for personal advancement. The kingdom exists to honor God and to achieve God's purpose. So the first principle, and that's what we find in 1 Corinthians 12:7, it says, but to each one is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. The manifestation of the Spirit means the gifts. Some people have a gift to sing. Some people have a gift to prophesy. Some people have a gift of giving. Some people have a gift of healing. And the Bible, Paul says, the same Paul that understands collaboration says, everything that we receive, every gift that we receive is for the common good. Listen, if you cannot find happiness in the common good, you cannot collaborate. And if you don't feel passionate about the common good, maybe one day you want to be a pastor. The question is, why do you want to be a pastor? Because pastors forget about your well-being. Forget about yourself. The life of a pastor is a life that is spent helping and serving other people. And sometimes we pastors corrupt ourselves. When your heart is not satisfied with other people's happiness, sooner or later, there's going to be a small voice inside that is going to tell you, this is not fair. There has to be something in this for you. It's not fair that you've been doing this for 25 years and you have not gotten anything out of it. Because in collaboration, the only thing you get out of that is the common good. If you don't want to live for the common good and you only want to live for yourself, you are the biggest stumbling block for collaboration. I've learned to find my happiness making other people happy. I live for that. Not only here, in my house. I live for that. I live to serve people. I've learned to use the gifts God has given me to serve other people. And when I see people doing good, that makes me feel good. And I tell them, the other day I was telling Agustina, you did a great job. And I tell Josh, I'm proud of you. And even my Alejandra, every time I pick her up from school, how did you? I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. You're doing good. Do you find satisfaction serving people? Or do you only find satisfaction being recognized? Because this place brings a lot of recognition. Because God uses you. People are healed. Families are restored. People are transformed. And one day you say, wow, I'm good. And people tell you, Pastor, since I met you, my life changed. No. Since God decided to collaborate with me in your life changed. And Ekklesia Miami is not a one-man band or a one-man show. There's a lot of people working in this place so that your life can be changed. When I see Andrew, Andrew is a great guy and I love them. And I married them, so I'm guilty, okay? I'm to be blamed. But Andrew has been going to Jonathan's e-group. And they've grown spiritually and in relationship incredibly through the e-group and what they're doing there. Not through their relationship with me. Even though they come and they hear the word. But let me tell you, what happens in the e-group is something that builds the perfect foundation for when I preach, something happened in their heart. But if there were not other people sowing in them and helping them, maybe they would come and say, okay, this is a good word, but the effect and the result would not be the same. Because this is the result of collaboration. It's for the common good. The second thing, very important, listen to this. People are more important than success. Say that. People are more important than success. John 3:16, you know that verse. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son. God's reason has always been love for the people. God's reason and motivation has never been an institution. God's motivation has never been changing people to think a certain way. God's motivation has always been his love for people. For God, people, there's nothing more important than people. So for us, there shouldn't be nothing more important than people. But some people can hurt people to achieve success. For some leaders and for some people, other people are the stepping stone to success. And you don't mind, you don't care if you step over them and hurt them if you achieve your goal. And we begin to see people like, ¿cómo se dice desechable? Disposable material. Like a plastic cup that you use it once or twice and you don't have to use it anymore. Sometimes we leaders see people as disposable people. And if you don't work for me anymore, and you are not, if you are not providing something valuable to the organization, you're not of any use. We want to build a culture of collaboration. We need to understand that people are more important than success. What is the problem? That sometimes, if you want to be successful and for you success is the goal, then some people take longer to learn. Some people take longer to be discipled. Some people take longer to be formed. So in the end, so you begin to get desperate, and you say, no, but I've been with this person for 2 years in the E group and he doesn't change. And you begin to see that person as a hindrance to your success. So what we do in churches or in some enterprises is that we create this 2-month process to take somebody from being a nobody to being the best entrepreneur in the world. Or in churches, we have this discipleship process where in 2 months you didn't know Jesus, and in 2 months you already have a small group and you're leading people. That doesn't happen like that. It took Jesus 3 years and a half. But we're trying to design new systems and processes. I believe in efficiency. I believe you can always have a better process. But I don't believe in sacrificing people for success. Never. Because in the end, it's not about my success, it's about God's success, and God's success is people. It's not the growth of my church. And in Ekklesia Miami, people will always come before success.